What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode one of Buzz Talk Waiver Wire, where we're going to give you guys our weekly fantasy predictions and who you guys should pick up and who we think's going to a league winner and who's going to go off this week. But for this episode, me and him have two must ads. Well, I have two must ads and one buy low, and I think Lori has three people you should pick up and one league winner. Correct?
Yeah, no.
All right. So my first must add is Jonathan Mingo. Last week, Bryce Young completed 71% of his passing, and he averaged 7.5 yards per attempt. Mingo had 17% of the targets, and when Mingo plays and is 100% healthy, he plays in 90% of the snaps. This Sunday, he played in all 100% of snaps. So I think going forward, especially with Thielen getting a lot of attention, I think that's going to open a lot for Jonathan Mingo coming up. So I think that's one player that's going to be going off here in a couple weeks, maybe getting like 13, 16 points as a flex option, maybe. But I think Jonathan Mingo could definitely help some people's fantasy lineups, especially with a lot of buys coming up.
That's a good one actually, because we were just talking about him on the pod. How Luke thinks that he's good and underrated. That's a good pick. So for my first pick, I'm gonna pick Jahan Dotson because over the last week his target shares went up. I'm pretty sure his yards per game has skyrocketed too. He put up over 100 yards over Philly. He saw I think 8 catches on 10 targets with a touchdown too, and then the week before that he had 41 yards. I think he had like 8 targets or some shit like that. He only had 9 points, but still, man, his target share is going up. He's a good receiver. I really liked him at Penn State. With all the bye weeks that we're going into this week, I know a lot of people are going to be hurting for a wide receiver, and I think John Dotson could earn a flex spot here, man. Because if he did good against Philly, he can excel against other corners in the league. Because that's Kevin Byard, James Bradbury, Darius Slay, all those guys that he's going against. They're all top level, if not elite. You know what I mean? So he's only going into his second year. I think he's going to be good. Like I said, I really liked him at Penn State. So I'm going to pick him up as a flex option this week because I have three fucking buys and two of them are receivers. So
Uh, that's a good one. I like that a lot, especially because they in back to back games he was targeted 7 times, and Washington leads the league in passing rate. And his schedule coming up is actually because they already played Philly twice, so they got one of the best secondaries out of the way.
yeah,
So I know
yeah,
John Dotson. He didn't play the Giants. No, he played the Giants once, I believe. So he has the Giants coming up. I think. He has his schedule coming up is decently, like it's friendly to
kind of
him. Like
favors him. Yeah,
yeah, and especially with Sam Howell, dude. A lot of people were
he's heating
saying
up.
how like he's heating the fuck up, dude. He was the
Hmm.
leading fantasy quarterback this week.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's who my must add. That's who my next ad is. I feel like if Sam Howell is there, you got to go pick him the fuck up. Even though they're not, they're only three. They're 3-4, right? Or 3-5.
Yeah, yeah. The record's
They're
not positive. I know
yeah,
that.
they're
Yeah,
three
they're
and
three and
five,
five.
which isn't bad for the first 8 weeks. They could get that. They could get that up. But trading, they just traded Montez Sweat. They're looking to trade Chase Young, so I don't see them doing anything honestly, except tanking. But Sam Howell has a fucking gun on him. Like he could sling that bitch. We saw what
Hmm.
he did, like with Philly. That throw he threw to Terry over James Bradbury, I believe, was a beautiful throw. He put it in a great spot for Terry to go up and get it. Sam Howell is looking very impressive. He's looking very poised in the pocket. He's looking very comfortable back there. And I like what I like about him is that he's confident. He's not like he was a rookie last year, but he's getting his chance this year.
Hmm.
He's not looking scared. He's taking the hits. He's getting sacked the most out of anyone in the league, but he's getting right the fuck
But
back
he's
up, and
getting
he's
the
still
ball
gonna keep
out.
throwing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So somehow I think if he's there, he's not only a quarterback for this week. I feel like he could be a quarterback every week if you're struggling for a quarterback.
I like that. I just picked up CJ Stroud, so I'm gonna rock with him for a little bit. My next one's gonna be Gabe Davis because he had 9 catches on 12 targets for 87 yards and a touchdown last week, and he sees a decent target share in Buffalo. Man, Josh Allen likes to target him deep. He hauls in most of his targets, man, and he like I just said, he likes to get targeted on that deep ball. He's scored in pretty much every game besides three. And like I just said, with his touchdown and 12 targets, I think he's only going to keep going and going and going. I like Gabe Davis, man. I had him in fantasy last year, and he was just kind of like a flex option for me. But when I would put him in on buys, man, he would do decent for me and get like 11 to 15 points. And as of now, I'm kind of expecting a little bit more out of him with that. I saw him fantasy this morning. He's only rostered at about 75% of leagues. To me, that's crazy because I think if you're not starting Gabe Davis this week because of all the buys, that he's probably one of the best bench stashes that you could possibly have because of that deep target and just the cannon that Josh Allen has on him. He likes to fucking gun that ball down deep. When Diggs ain't open, when most of the attention's on Diggs there, you can count on Gabe Davis to haul in a deep touchdown, I think.
Yeah, I like
So
that.
if you're hurting for receivers this week, like we said about John Dotson, maybe, and you can maybe either trade low ball for Gabe Davis, or like I said, he's only rostered in 75% of leagues. Maybe in that 25% is in your league. Maybe you can pick him up. So yeah, that's gonna be my second pick.
Uh, uh, that's a good one. I like Gabe Davis a lot. He's on Pedro's team for us, and he's getting Pedro like 16 points a week. It's
Yeah, he's
ridiculous.
good, man. He's good. I have him over 15 points this week. I think he's gonna get over 15.
This one I have a buy low right now, and which I just bought low from Javonte Williams. At the beginning of the year, he started off. It looked like he was in a committee after coming off another injury from last year, but now it looks like the Broncos are really starting to trust him against the Chiefs. He had 27 carries, which is fucking ridiculous. 27 carries
Yeah,
is ridiculous. And he had 3 targets for 3 catches and a receiving touchdown. This guy is going to skyrocket for value. So if you need a running back, go get him now for low. That's what I did. He's going to be, in my opinion, not a league winner, but his upcoming schedule is looking very promising, and I think they're getting their bull back. We saw what he could do his rookie year. We saw what he could do last year before he was hurt. When he's not hurt, the guy is a fucking freak. Javonte Williams is back, and it's going to be bad. I feel like I'm not even down on the Broncos yet. What's their record? They just beat one of the best teams in the
the
league.
Broncos just beat the Chiefs, man. Yeah, so I mean
What's
they
their
can still
record?
be good, and they
Like
have
three and
stars
five,
all
right?
around. Yeah, they're
They're
three
three
and
and
five.
five, right? Dude, they could trade for people right now if they're not looking to buy. If they're not looking to sell, they could definitely buy and help this team. Because Russell Wilson's not looking horrible, to be honest. He's
No,
not.
he's really not. He's
And
really not.
Cortland Sutton's a great TD. He's a great red zone threat. So I think this fucking Broncos team can really turn it around. I'm not saying they're gonna make the playoffs or anything, but I think they could end the year maybe 500 or like maybe like 2 or 3 games under.
And Jerry Judy just had a good game too, man. He had a really nice touchdown grab, so I think he's proven his worth in Denver because people are talking about him possibly being traded today, actually, because today's the trade deadline. But I think after that performance, Denver's going to have second thoughts on that, and I think he's going to be there for a long time, Jerry Judy. Because when he's not me, I know me and you talk about this a lot, and I talk about this with Luke too. But Jerry Judy is one of the best route runners in the entire league. He deals with injuries. He's kind of has since he's been coming out of Alabama and he's gotten drafted. But when this dude is healthy, I'm telling you right now, people say like dudes like Hunter Renfro are best route runners in the league. If you think Hunter Renfro is a better route runner than Jerry Judy, there's a problem. There is a major problem because that is just absolutely absurd. And I think even in fantasy, man, Jerry Judy, put him in right now while the Broncos are hot. They just beat the Chiefs, dude. The Chiefs even have a good defense. It's not just the offense over there on the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes didn't play great. It's probably one of the worst performances in his career by far, to be honest with you. But yeah, dude, even Jerry Judy, throw him in as a wide receiver too, or a flex option this week. See what he can do for you because he had that touchdown grab that he had really impressed me. But my third pick's gonna be Kareem Hunt. He scored at least 13.7 fantasy points over the past 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I believe. He's had 4 touchdowns in that time frame too, which is pretty good. They just signed the kid, so he led the league as a rookie man when he was on Kansas City with Alex Smith. This is a good running back, man. He knows Cleveland's system. He was there for a long time before they just picked him up in free agency when Nick Chubb got hurt. And ever since they picked him up, he had that one game where it was the first week that they signed him, where Jerome Ford saw most of the carries. But that's not a thing anymore, so you don't have to worry about that. Kareem Hunt's only going to get more carries and more carries each week, man. You have to remember that Nick Chubb is not in for the Browns anymore, and Deshaun Watson's not looking the best passing the ball either right now. Even if he plays, man, because it seems to me like he's telling the media like that he wants to play and everything, but then he's throwing the ball and he's like, I can't
Yeah,
play. Like, you know what I mean, dude? Just yeah. And if Deshaun Watson doesn't play, I think that's when you can really count on Kareem Hunt to at least get you 13 to 18 fantasy points this week. Um, I'm starting Cream Hunt this week because I said in the beginning I'm really hurt. And this week I have 3 buys, 2 of them are receivers, so I'm gonna throw Cream Hunt in that flex and see what he can do for me.
Yeah, I like Kareem Hunt a lot, especially like Ford. Ford got injured too, like with his ankle, I believe, or like a hip. So like I'm sure they're not gonna want to feed him because they saw what happened with Chubb and like before when they had Chubb and Hunt like 2 years ago, I believe they looked fucking good. When Baker took them to the
Yeah, it
playoffs.
was a
They
nice
were a
one two
good,
bang. Yeah,
yeah, it was a very good 1-2 punch, and I feel like Ford and Hunt could be that, especially now that Ford has a little injury. They're not going to want to work him. So I think Hunt's going to start being the lead back in that backfield. Maybe not this week, but the next coming week.
and they play Arizona this week, man. So you can. I think Hunt might actually go off.
Yeah,
To be
for
honest,
sure.
he might put up 20 or more.
I'm gonna actually add one more must add. Not maybe for this week, but I added him a week ago because I heard that he was gonna get signed. Leonard Fournette. Latavius Murray is the Bulls. I mean, not the Bulls. Latavius Murray is the Bills' goal line back, and he is fucking horrible. He is bad. And we know what Leonard Fournette could do. It's playoff Lenny. He was a fucking freak with the Jags. He was a beast with the Buccaneers when they won the Super Bowl. Leonard Fournette's back, and he's saying that he's in the best shape of his life. We saw him, I think, last year's training camp. He was like 260, a fat fuck. But I think now he's saying he's in great shape. I saw some of his workouts. He doesn't. He looks like he looks in shape. But and I think especially with Josh Allen, it's just I feel like he has to be an ad now actually because we know how good he is with his hands. He's such a good receiving back, and Josh Allen is going to utilize that.
Yeah, he is.
So I think Leonard Fournette, maybe you have to add him now if he's in your league. He's only rostered in 3% of leagues, and I have him in 2 of mine. So go get him.
Yeah.
He is going to be I not maybe not the RB1, but he's definitely taking Latavius Murray's spot in 2 weeks.
I mean, I don't really. I mean, James Cook was playing good for a time, but James Cook isn't Dalvin, and say what you want about Dalvin right now, but Dalvin Cook's a great running back. He's just in a shitty situation right now. Um, but James Cook just ain't Dalvin. So I could see Leonard Fournette and James Cook coming in there this week and splitting carries right off the bat. You know what I mean? And as time goes, you might see Leonard Fournette take that number 1 spot. And like you said, dude, he was a great running back for Jacksonville. They drafted him super high overall. I think he's actually one of didn't he get drafted top 5, dude? I think they took him at like 4.
No, I know he was. I know he was a first round pick. I don't know what pick he was though.
I don't remember either, but I think Leonard Fournette might have went high. He played at LSU.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I think he went like 4th overall, man, back in like 2017. But yeah, I like that pick a lot because I was actually gonna say that if you didn't pick up Leonard Fournette right now because everybody knows what he can do, man, and he's another one that just kind of isn't in right situations with teams. He's only 28, man. There's older running backs
he's
that
a
are getting big.
bullback.
Yeah,
Like he's a big ass fucking like a big ass guy. Like he is going to be a problem. I think if the Bills
there's
could utilize him right, especially because he's not only a big back, he's a big back that could catch. Like he's a great receiving back
he
for how
is,
big he
dude.
is.
He
So
is, and I think he's just like you said, a great running back to have. Like I don't if I could compare him to like a running back in the league right now, he doesn't play a lot, obviously, but he's like a type like Rashad Penny. You know what I mean? He's like a bullback. He has speed to him. He's not Rashad Penny's not as great as a receiving back. We obviously think Leonard Fournette's a good receiving back. But yeah, that's just the type of running back I think that he reminds me of is Rashad Penny when he was in Seattle. Definitely don't count out Leonard Fournette. I think James Robinson's another one too that should be on the radar because you might see James Robinson honestly get picked up here. If not this week, within the next, he'll get signed soon. Honestly, because James Robinson's another one that's just in a bad situation too. He was in a bad situation with the Jets. They obviously had Brees Hall. Um, in Jacksonville, they had ETN. Obviously, he's excelled. He's a top 5 fantasy running back right now, and he's a top 5 leading rusher right now. So obviously, it's just the running backs, man. I think James Robinson is only like 25 or 26 too. So that's another running back, man, that could still come back into this league and pop. But I'm not gonna have him on my pickups for this week because that's a little risky given that he's a free agent. But I will go ahead and say that Darrell Henderson might be a decent pickup since Kyron Williams is out on IR. Darrell Henderson played in LA before. He played for the Rams. He knows their system, and when he was getting the majority of the touches before, man, I don't know if it was last year or the season before, but he did pretty good. Like he wasn't terrible. I think it was 2 seasons ago because they had Cam Akers,
Hmm.
and um, that just once they started splitting carries is when he started to downgrade. But now that Kyron Williams is hurt and Darrell Henderson's going to start getting all these touches, man, he had 18 carries or 16 carries 2 weeks ago and a touchdown, and against Pittsburgh, who has a great defense. And then the week after that, it was either he had 18 carries and then he had 16, or it was vice versa. But I think he had 18 and a touchdown against Pittsburgh. And then, so that's good, man. He's just coming in off the bench. You know what I mean? Getting 16 carries off the bat or more. Um, I think if you could expect a good amount out of Darrell Henderson this week, maybe at least 14 to 15 fantasy points. He's a great goal line back, and just an all around back to have in for them right now. I know LA likes to pass the ball around, obviously, with Puka Nakua and Cooper Cup.
Yeah, but Stafford's hurt now. He's day to
Exactly.
day.
Exactly. Yeah. So if Matthew Stafford's out, I think you can really count on Darrell Henderson if you're hurting in fantasy this week as a flex target.
All right, now I have a league winner. Nico Collins, dude. We saw with CJ Stroud, like CJ Stroud is a great quarterback. He just looks very good in the pocket. He's doing very good with passing. And this schedule coming up for Nico is insane. He has Tampa Bay, Cincinnati, Arizona, Jacksonville, Denver, Jets, Tennessee, Cleveland, and Tennessee again. So in the playoffs, he has Tennessee twice. Tennessee is bottom 7 in passing, and every other team on this list that I just said in his upcoming schedule, besides the Jets, I think, are bottom 12 in passing. So I think Nico Collins, if you could get him for a right price, you should get him now because this kid is not only is the connection with CJ Stroud looking amazing, but with this upcoming schedule, I feel like you got to go after him because this schedule looks very easy, and the Texans are looking like not a contender, but they're looking like they
They're
could.
looking fresh legged. You
Yeah,
know what I
they're
mean? It's
looking
only
good.
their first year, man, with this quarterback. It's only going to get better and better. It CJ Stroud, man, I really wasn't high on CJ Stroud before the draft, but he's really impressed me getting going into this NFL season. He's only thrown has he is he does he still only have one interception, or has he thrown
Yeah,
another? He
I
still
think he
only
only
has
has
one
one. I
interception.
think he only has one.
That's insane, dude. This kid's a rookie, and we're going into week 9. He has one interception, and he has a ton of passing yards too. Um, I think he's a clear candidate for offensive rookie of the year. And Carolina really fucked up, man, not taking him first overall. Don't get me wrong, Bryce Young's a great quarterback, but I just don't think he has the height and the physical attributes to excel in the league. You know what I mean? And I think Kyler Murray's a great quarterback too. But look at Kyler Murray's situation. You know what I mean? And people said that when he got drafted that he wasn't tall enough. And he is a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong, Kyler Murray. He has everything, like all the tools to get the job done. I just don't think he's tall enough to see over that line and see everything that's going on in the defense. You know what I mean? And I think Bryce Young's gonna have that same problem. And I think Carolina really, really fucked up not taking CJ Stroud first overall. I really do. Because imagine him with Adam Thielen right now. And
Yeah,
Mingo as a deep threat. Like
yeah,
he would be fucking taking off right now. I don't want to say he'd be playing better than he is in Texas, but he'd be playing just as well, if not better. So, but thank you guys for watching. This is only our first episode. Next week it's gonna be Kobe and Eddie. I was just filling in for Kobe this week because he has a bunch of tests going on with his college. Every Tuesday we'll be posting a Buzz Talk waiver wire, so stay tuned and we hope you guys enjoyed.